It's 11.15 max occurrences. We're going to write a method called maxOccurrences. It starts us out with making it public occurrences. Okay, I don't know if I spelled that right, so we're just going to copy and paste this in here. I did spell it right. And it's going to accept a list of integers as parameter, and we'll just call it list1, and returns the number of times the most frequently occurring integer occurs in our list. So I believe that means we're going to return like an int. So let's be inside of here. And how are we going to do this? Well, there's probably a couple of different ways we can do this, but the easiest way that I can think of is making a map, right? And if you make a map, let's say list has like numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, whatever. What we want to do is have a map where the key is the individual number and the value is how many times that number occurs. Now, if you don't know the difference between key and value and you want more map information, we have videos on that. It's in the playlist below the like button. But for this, let's start off by making that map. That's the first step we're going to do. So they're both integers. We'll call it map1. We'll set it equal to a new hash map where we have our integer and then our integer, and close this off. Now we also want to store our max. So when we are done storing everything into our map, we are going to want to check to see what our max value is. And this has to be done when we are finished, right? When we finish adding everything together. So we could have like a for each loop that goes through our entire list. It's going to check to see if our map contains this value. If not, it's just going to put that value in there. And then inside of that if statement, what we can also maybe do is increment our map as well, or increment our max value that we want to return. Otherwise, if it's not in our map, we'll just put it in here. So this is the value that we're going to be returning. We'll set it equal to 0. We'll do return max. So eventually we return it. Now is time for our for each loop. So for int a, and we have it run through our entire list 1. We want to be inside of here. We want to first check if our map1 dot contains, so this is checking to see if it contains it, and we have to do contains key, so we check the key. If it contains the key that we are currently looking at, which is a, we are going to do a map1 dot put, and then we will have our a comma map1 dot get, and then a, and then +1. And the reason why we are doing this is because we want to update our current a. If it's already in here, we update it by adding 1 to increment it. Now, I don't want to put my max value inside of here because, like, let's say we have something that's 3 in our map1 as a value, and we increment it here, well, it's 2. Well, that is gonna affect our current max value. What we could do though, maybe, let's try saying if our, this current value right here, so if our max is less than our map1 dot get at this value, so now we're getting the value at our current key, and if max is less than this, we can update our max to be equal to map1 dot get, where we pass in our a. So this one is strictly for our max value. And that can be it for our if statement. Let's see, so this one doesn't end anywhere. I don't know why, because this one automatically binds it with that one, but it shouldn't. Maybe because we have this as an issue. Okay, that was an issue. So we have to end this right here. This should go for our for loop, but we also need an else statement. So otherwise, if our map1 does not contain the key, we just want to add it in. So do map1 dot put, where we pass in our key, and then we just pass in 1. So we're passing in what we want from our list, and then we have to add 1 because it's obviously the first time it's happening. So let's press submit, and we'll see if it can run through our test. And this passes 4 out of 4 tests. So this is pretty simple. If you don't understand what's going on, it's totally okay. We have our method header right here. We accept a list. We want to return an integer. We make a new map so that we can store any values that we have. and that's in the key, and in the values is how many times that happens in our list. We have this max to keep track. We have a for each loop to go through our entire list. We have this if statement where we are checking if our map contains this key. If it doesn't contain the key, we are simply going to put it in here and start our counting at 1. Now, if it does contain the key, we just want to update. So this line right here is updating. So we're going to be updating our map. And this is strictly for our max value. So we want to check if our current is greater than our max. And if it is, we update that as well. So that passed 4 out of 4 tests. That's the code. That's this 11.15 max occurrences.